anyone present knows any reason why this man and this woman should not be joined in marriage?
Yeah. Because she's a bitch with no conscience, no mercy, no soul.
Oh, Liz. Ignore her. She drinks.
There we go, folks.
Hi. Sir, welcome to Albuquerque. Thanks for coming out. I decided this is hard. I should keep doing this. We'll try not to ping pong you too much. No. And one of us is going to go out there in a minute, so.
You're right. If you have questions, folks, we're going to line you up right in the middle here. We're going to get it started, and then we can take it from there.
Well, Lady Gaga reminded me of something. Do you drink?
Drink what?
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. Cheers, everybody.
I drink lots of tea. If you cut me open, my veins would be tea. I drink English breakfast, lobster souchong, Earl Grey, chai, sencha, pu'er, anything that has flavor.
I got about half of it.
No green tea.
Well, welcome to Albuquerque, like I said. First, I want to say we're very excited to talk to you. When you were announced, I got a little giddy, I have to admit, because I think you're one of those few actors that can do no wrong. Right?
You haven't, I can point you in the right direction if you want to see me do awful stuff.
Well, we did do a deep dive on your resume, so we'll see. Let's look at some of your resumes. Starting back in 1993 with the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Classic Shakespearean drama like Hamlet in 2000. A recurring character on Law and Order.
9 times.
Dallas Buyers Club. The Good Wife. The X-Files. True Blood. The Town of Sundown. Lizzie. And of course, American Horror Story. So, over 100 credits on your IMDb page.
Wow.
Most actors start in horror and find their way to other genres. You kind of did the reverse.
I did.
So what inspired that shift later in your career?
You know, I wasn't going to say it was inspired. It wasn't. I was actually in bed. I got a call from my agent about American Horror Story, and of course, no one had ever heard of it. No one had ever heard of it. He was like, you know, it's Ryan Murphy, and I was like, oh, he's Nip Tuck, right? Yes, Nip Tuck, Ryan Murphy. And I think we had already started, but you know, it was unprecedented. No one had ever done a horror anthology of 8 mini episodes where every year would be different. And they were like, they want to ask me for 2 years, and I was like, sure. And I read the script, and I didn't really understand it. Because I was just like, what? What's happening? Who am I? And that's kind of the way it was. We went into the first season not really knowing what we were doing, and we just did it. And even in our first panel, we did a panel in LA, and no one knew what it was. You know, because you think back, and no one was doing these kind of mini-series where, I mean, there were limited series, not that many limited series, but then there was no such thing as coming back the next year with the same cast, playing different characters. No one was doing that. So it was completely confusing everybody. But I was a little squeamish about horror, you know, I was like, oh my God, what will this do to me? You know, the material's really, really great. Between both True Blood and Horror Story, I feel like the kind of characters you get to play are really demanding, bigger than life. The emotions they have are massive emotions. The situations they're in are highly unusual. And, you know, I was trained to do Chekhov and Shakespeare and the Greeks, and this stuff's like the Greeks, it really is. All right. Well, did you turn down a lot of horror projects in that early part of your career? And if you did you turn down anything that you look back on now and say,
Or maybe something we've heard?
No, I didn't turn down anything. I wasn't offered anything. I really wasn't on their radar until Ryan Murphy. I had never thought about doing anything in the genre ever. Yes and no. And just to correct you, I have never done the X-Files. I wish I had. I haven't. And if I had, it made it when I was still drinking. So, it was a while ago.
I'll take the credit. Give it to me. Okay, Mandela effect, that's what I call it. I think you were in, and Mandela effect, you took it out, so. Ziggy, hit him right there.
You seem to play a lot of priests, especially in the Law and Order universe. Honestly, not knowing anything about your faith, how do you surround yourself in a role like that that requires a character to have such a deep, sometimes complicated relationship with faith?
I played a priest in The Bishop, a great movie with Melissa Leo. I played a priest, I think at least twice in Law and Order. Once where I was a priest who killed, once where I had a priest who didn't kill but who covered somebody who was a killer. I played a priest in Evil, the series of CBS. It was very, very fun. And I was going to be a priest until I was 19. I was very serious about it. I was worrying Catholic. Like my parents were very worried about me. I was the kid who made a May altar and stole all the flowers from the garden, cut everything, made a massive altar upstairs, hallway with every statue. I had pictures of crucified Jesus, I had pictures of bleeding heart of Jesus, pictures of all the saints. I like saints who had gruesome deaths, so crucified upside down, stoned to death, lanced in the side, Saint Sebastian, Saint Peter. I was a big Franciscan kid. I was raised by Franciscans. I loved Saint Francis. He could talk to animals. He ran naked. Come on. Who else was really good? But anyways, I was really religious. I gave all my money to the poor. My brothers and sisters hated me, so I gave all my allowance to the poor. I was an altar boy. I did all that stuff. And then, I went to college. I forgot to be straight. Not that that means anything. And then I just kind of I read too much Sartre. I read too much French philosophy, and bam, that was it. It was done. It was very quick. It was very sudden, but I was super serious about being a priest for a long time. Yeah. And I had a lot of really good people in my life. I had a lot of really good examples of how to be a good religious person. In my parish, I didn't see a lot of, abuse, thank God. There weren't a lot of stories like that. They were just kind of really, really decent men and women. Franciscans again. And I love Franciscans because I feel like they have a great, their vow of poverty, obedience, and chastity I think is really cool. And they serve the poor, which I think is a really cool thing to do. Yeah.
All right, Ziggy, you want to get down there and start lining up some folks?
I'm actually stage weapons.
You guys have some questions? We're going to form a line right down the middle here, and we are going to record you. If you don't want to be recorded, asking a question, just let us know. We'll
Sign the waiver. Sign the waiver.
Yeah.
Wait, nobody in here, has anybody here who's never been to a horror con before?
Wow. A lot of first time.
Wow.
Welcome.
Very interesting. But this con, we have first time to this con. Right, but not horror con. Cool. Come on, don't be shy. Anybody?
Yeah. Well,
It's gotta be questions.
Come on, you're my leaders.
Okay.
You're my leaders.
Good to see you again.
Trying to get you on camera.
Oh, you talked a little bit about your podcast.
Yes.
Talk a little bit more about what it is you want to do, the vision.
Thank you. My God, you set me up beautifully. We didn't even practice this.
you paid it.
We didn't. I'm doing a fiction podcast, which I am starting to work on. I've written 15 episodes. I'm hoping to record it soon. And it's called House Divided. It takes place in 2033 to 2055. It posits that America is split in two. There are two nations. And one family is divided across the divide. Some live in the red states, some live in the blue states. And it's kind of about how each person in the family, especially two young people, Evan and a kid named Seth, how they develop their political brains, how they develop their political conscience, how they develop what they believe. And the whole podcast is about what do you believe, what do you do with your beliefs, how do you enact your beliefs, how do you negotiate with other people, how do we survive when we don't agree, what happens when we don't agree, and what happens when our agreements are so bad that we actually split into two countries. And spoiler alert, at the beginning of the podcast, there's not a war. But eventually the war does come in 2042. Anyway, but it's a beautiful podcast. I started writing as a novel about 7 years ago. I wrote 800 pages and couldn't get anyone to publish it. So I thought, I'm going to make it into a fiction podcast. And I have great characters. I love them. And yeah, it's called House Divided. Look for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Good job. Jamie from Albuquerque.
Jenny from Albuquerque, come on down.
So we're big Mike Flanagan fans. I'm like, would you ever work with him? Has it ever come up?
I will work with anybody, anywhere, anytime.
We need a petition.
Anytime. So there's an actor named Austin Hamilton. I don't know if any of you know who that is. He's an amazing actor, probably about 70-something right now. He was in What's Up, Doc? He was in tons of things. He was in MASH, original MASH movie. Anyway, he will do anything, anywhere, anytime, for any amount of money. And he's my hero. Because I just did this student film called Make Whole with this female collective. They had no money, and I was like, not a problem. Because I just like to do stuff. And I like to support other people who are doing their stuff. I will show up, I will do it. I shot 3 days with them. It was great. And so I mean, I will do anything with anybody, anywhere, anytime. As long as I say it. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna write a part for him in our feature film.
All me.
We got Mary from New Mexico.
Okay, so
By the way, I did not rear end her, just so you know. If you hear that, that is not true. I have nowhere near your car.
yeah, sure. You said that you work with anybody.
Yeah.
Who would be your favorite person to work with? If it's like your dream.
Wes Anderson.
Really?
I adore Wes Anderson's movies. I would love to work with him. I'd love to work with, I'll never get his name right. He did The Lobster. Largos. Say it again? Yorgos Lanthimos, yes. I love his movies. I love weird stuff like that. So Wes Anderson and Yorgos Lanthimos, call me, please. Where are you? Are they here? They might be here. Are they here? Maybe Yorgos Lanthimos. And oh god, who's the guy who did the Labyrinth movie? Pan's Labyrinth. Guillermo del Toro. Anything I work with in a heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a horror guy. They're all kind of like. Yeah. Society made you a horror guy later. Absolutely, I would love it. And I was at Toronto International Film Festival about 4 years ago. I did a movie called The Goldfinch. And I was at a party. I hate going to parties. I went to the party and you have to go to the party. I go to the party. And I went, I don't drink, I'm not good at networking. So I was like standing in the corner and someone yells out to me, Dude, I want to work with you. I'm like, oh, it's Michael B. Jordan. I was like, let's do that. He has a call. That's all right. You will. You will.
He was intimidated.
He was good. I don't think he was. I was intimidated. You got your character from True Blood back there right now? Anybody got anybody with a True Blood question? Come on up. Come on up.
I think you already answered it for whatever
Huh? What?
Yeah, how you got the role.
You got that's a horror story. Oh no, they don't know that story. That was a private conversation you and I had.
All right, stand up. Let's do this right.
My name is Amber. I'm from Las Cruces, New Mexico. So what role is your most favorite that you played?
Oh, you know, I can't say. Seriously, honestly, unfortunately, as my IMDb shows, there's been so many I forget them. I've been in movies I haven't seen, never watched them. You know, I mean, there are certain things that stand out that are really, really, I think, satisfying to do. True Love is definitely a satisfying show to do because we all loved each other. It was a really fun group to work with. We had fun on the set. It was before cell phones were like sort of, I mean, people had cell phones, but they didn't bring them to the set, they didn't bring them to the chair. So we would all just sit around and talk and tell stories. And it's a lot of theater people, and theater people love to tell stories. So just a lot of us hanging out, telling stories.
hilarious people. I mean, you know, Terry Preston is hilarious. Nelson, oh my God, was an amazing man, hilarious person. Sam Trammell's hilarious, he's great. Steve Moyer is amazing. Anna Paquin's amazing. Tina Wesley. Skarsgård is hilarious. So Skarsgård, I think he learned his English by watching Gomer Pyle, which is probably it's an old American TV series. Because he just goes, well, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, Alex, you're Swedish. What is this? But he's obviously copying somebody. His American accent is really, really good. So that was a really great group of people to be with. You know what I mean? And when you like being with them, it just makes everything fun. In fact, we had too much fun. I remember this one day I did an entrance and we were just goofing around, and Alan Ball actually was kind of like, cut, do it again, stop fucking around. All right, but that was a great show. It was a lot of fun. So I'll say that. And I was telling her a story about how I got the part. So I was a fan of True Blood. I watched the first season on a bootleg VHS tape someone brought to my house. Didn't know what it was not into it. First episode, I was like, this is stupid. And then, you know, we met the character of Jason. I was like, this is not stupid. Who's that? You know, and then you start getting into it. I like all the different animals. I like the wolves. I like the fact that they had different supernatural creatures. I like the fact that the vampires didn't glitter.
Give it up, give it up.
Vampires cannot go out in the sunlight. Sorry. And I like all the rules, but I had no intention of being it. I mean, I just didn't. And then I got a call. I was in Prague making a movie called The Eagle of the Night. And I got a call from my agent, and he basically was like, how would you like to be in the hit show, True Blood, playing a vampire in Mississippi? And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. And I just shut up and I just started working. It was really, really cool. And I didn't know if I'd be more than one season. And they warned me that I would be killed, sorry. At the end of season 3, but then Alan Ball was like, I think you're coming back. And so season 4 they did The Witches, and then season 5 I came back. I got buried, I was a little teeny doll. It was a small little puppet, and then I got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I fell in love with Mike McMillian, and we killed people at a wedding. Steve knew me, who knew?
I've got Eddie from Albuquerque.
I got Eddie.
Good to see you again.
How you doing, man? Good. Nice to see you.
My question is on True Blood. Do you think that HBO or Max is going to bring that series back since they're done a whole lot of different series now?
You know, I've always said about a True Blood reunion that it's really hard to do with characters that aren't supposed to age, right? So that was 2010, it's 2024, I look good, but I am 14 years older, you know, Anna Paquin is 14 years older. I mean, it would strain credulity, unfortunately, to try to get the vampires back together, and nobody wants to see other people playing our parts. So, unless, you know, CGI is really good, which you could do, or unless you wrote some kind of weird rule in, but we would all be game. You know, they were going to do a True Blood musical on Broadway, and they came to us and were asking me to walk in like, no, that's too much work, that's too hard. Broadway's hard. Well, let me get a question in here while you line a couple of people up. Your turn recently as Giovanni Di Rita on the Should Not Have Been Canceled Evil, by the way. That was like a lot of fun and helped facilitate the end of the show. But can you tell us about working with Robert and Michelle King, because they are some of the best writers on television right now, and what their approach to horror was like for you? You know, I met them, I did The Good Wife. I probably did like 9 episodes over 7 seasons, and I did The Good Fight. I think I did 3 or 4 episodes playing a character named Judge Abernathy. Charles Abernathy, I love that character. And I was in the second episode after the pilot. It's funny because they hired me, and they were like, I don't know that Dennis can do comedy. He's a pretty serious actor. This has to be kind of a funny role. And I was like, I just done a play on Broadway called Take Me Out, where I played a comic character. So I was like, I can do comedy. So they hired me anyway. Anyway, I love them. They are super smart. They have their finger on the pulse, I feel like. They know what's happening in culture and society. They kind of rip from the headlines. But I didn't think they would be good at horror. And I was surprised. And lo and behold, Robert's an old Catholic. And you know what I mean? Catholic people are raised with a lot of blood and a lot of stories and a lot of horror. I mean, you know, there's a lot of blood. And so I think they came to it naturally. But he's also got a great sense of humor. And so a lot of you actually notice in Evil, other things, there's a lot of funny stuff. I mean, the demons are funny. I mean, Michael Emerson is hilarious. That character is crazy good. Christina Lottie is hilarious. It's got a great sensibility to it. And I do think they're trying to keep it alive, but you know, what do I know?
Sound like they like others, perhaps.
We could shoot in Italy, come on.
Anybody watch cable out there? We've got Selena from right here.
Hello again. So obviously you have played LGBT characters, you've been in shows that have had LGBT characters that have been really important for the community. For you, what has playing those characters meant and what went into playing them?
You know, I play everybody, you know what I mean? And so I feel honored and lucky to have played some amazing LGBTQ characters. I think in many ways it is the best actor for the role. However, I think when it comes to playing a gay character, gay people know something. You know what I mean? We got a little inside track. I remember seeing a show once, it was a straight guy directing and two straight actors. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. But they had a scene where he was coming home from work or something, and they didn't kiss, and I'm like, I could kiss him. And no one had the idea to kiss. I'm like, you would kiss. You would kiss. And you know, if I'm playing a gay character, I know where to put my hands. I know where my hands want to go. I don't have to think about it. So there is something about that kind of weird authenticity that I think adds something. And again, it's not to say that they can't be there, and actors can't do it, because they can. And I'm also lucky enough that I play a lot of straight characters, because I was raised in a straight society. I, pretended to be straight for a long time, so I'm good at pretending. But I think it's super important. Representation is super important. But to me, more important than that is honest, authentic storytelling. So I don't care if my character is gay and hysterical. I don't care if my character is gay and a nasty, awful person, because they exist. You know what I mean? But I want the storytelling to be honest and true. The only part I ever turned down, I'm not a gay character, was a character where he was being used to make a point, a political point. And I was like, no. I will play a character who's flawed. I'll play a character who's blind. I'll play a character who does damage to other people, as long as it's real. The minute you start using a character as a mouthpiece, in any way, I don't want to do it. Because then it's not real storytelling anymore. It's a tool. I don't want to do that. We're all going to start watching stories about LGBTQ characters now differently and be like, oh, yep, written by a straight guy. I can tell. And again, I've worked with straight actors in a love scene. Tim Whitrock and I did a love scene together, and it was hilarious because the scene was, we were rehearsing. And you're rehearsing a sex scene, it's like, there's 50 people in the room. You know what I mean? There's nothing sexy about it or intimate about it. And he was completely naked, and I wasn't. But I decided that my character Liz wouldn't be naked because she was trying to, in many ways, preserve for him his ability to see her a certain way. And so I wasn't modest. I think the character would actually wear something sheer or whatever. And so we were talking about what we're going to do. The director was like, just go for it. I was like, no. What does go for it mean? Give me 3 highlights. What do you want to see? Okay, I want to see kind of like some kissing, and maybe someone gets flipped over, and this, I'm like, great. Can we choreograph that? Like, can we just not improvise that? Can we actually hit some landmarks? And so we did. And then we were rehearsing for camera. You rehearse so the camera can get make sure it's in focus, make sure that the guy with the microphone doesn't get stuck in the wrong place at the wrong time. And we were doing it, and Sin didn't get the message as to the rehearsal. he's like going for it. I'm like, whoa! I didn't mind, but I'm also like, whoa! God, this is the rehearsal. What's going to happen when we shoot? And then they went, cut out rehearsal. He was like, what?
We've got Ben from California.
Hey, Ben. Hey there. So, clearly, there's a mask. There's a mask. Don't be bad. Don't wear it. Don't wear it. It's okay.
So clearly, you're a prolific actor. You yourself are very creative, and you also are an inspiring writer. Was there any time in any role where you were reading the script and decided to completely go off the rails and do your own thing?
Yes and no. I'm a theater actor, so we're trained to respect the word, right? You don't improvise Chekhov. You don't improve on Shakespeare. You don't tell Ibsen how to write a play. You know what I mean? And I even do plays, I would never disrespect the writer enough to change his mind. I'm not an actor who asks for changes. My job is to figure out why the character says that, and to say, and I do the same thing in TV and film. I say what's written. If I have a good idea, especially for a joke, I will run it by them, and I will offer it to them. However, if I'm allowed to improvise, I will do it, and I'm very good at doing it. And so I did a movie called Army of One. That's a bad movie. And I'll put it on the list. It was Rainn Wilson and me, and Nick Cage, and the director was Larry David's the director. I can't remember his last name. Anyway, wonderful people, amazing people. And the director said to us, no, the script, forget the script, just improvise. I'm like, improvise what? Whatever you want. Like, why Pakistanis are hairy, why the food is that, like, what? So Rainn and I would get together, we were shooting in Morocco, and we would make stuff up every morning about what to improvise. Because you have to have, what are we talking about? But Nick Cage didn't want to do that. So he was doing the script. So we're improvising, and he's doing the script, which doesn't work at all. At all. So he's like, oh, and so they kind of go, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, no one said anything to you. And God love him, because, you know, not every actor wants to improvise. Some people want to do it. And I did a movie called The Mighty Heart. Michael Winterbottom. It's a beautiful movie. We shot it in India. That entire movie is improvised. Everything. And it's a real story about real people. So I would call my real character, a guy named John Whitby, and he lives in Hong Kong. I would call him at night in India and go, John, what do I do tomorrow on the scene? And then we would improvise the scene. And it's hard. It's hard, but it's really fun to do, because in a weird way you feel like you are the character completely alive. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Anybody else got a question?
You keep looking. We have to get the ball rolling on American Horror Story. I mean, seriously, come on, right? So, what has been your favorite character to play so far on American Horror Story? Maybe that's a different name. Hold on, what's your name?
Andrea?
Andrea.
What was your favorite role in American Horror Story?
Deja vu, man. I'm going to cheat and say that I have 3, because, I love playing Liz Taylor. It was the first time I got a whole story. I got a character who had a backstory, number 1, a character who had a love story, number 2, and a character who had a death scene. Come on. Everybody wants a death scene. And then I got to live. So that was really, really great. I adored playing Spaulding, because he had no lines. I mean, he had a few lines here and there, but mostly he had no lines. And I loved the freedom to not speak. And it was really interesting, because when you don't speak, people stop noticing you're there. And so I heard all kinds of things on the set. Because I would be sitting in a chair, ready to go, and people would just ignore me because I wasn't speaking. I didn't speak on set. I wanted to stay in character. It was really, really interesting. And I love Larry from season 1, because, it's the original, we didn't know what they were doing. Again, I love characters who are flawed and who are reaching for some kind of meaning or some kind of dream. And Larry definitely had that. Larry was reaching for some kind of dream. And I was very frustrated at the end that he got put in jail for a crime he didn't do. And I assumed he would get out. Or I assumed he'd at least put on a prison show, and they would shoot that scene. And they didn't. I was like, come on.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about playing the character of Liz Taylor, like your emotional process, your thought behind going into that character, anything like that? Because it's one of the greatest characters on television in the last 10 years.
Thank you. We don't work in a vacuum. We have writers, great writers who write the scripts. The writers in that were, I thought, super well-intentioned and super well-motivated. It was a really beautiful collaboration. They look at what we're doing, they look at what we're doing for costumes, they look at what we're doing in rehearsals, and everybody gets ideas from everybody else. But it's their baby, you know what I mean? It was Ryan's baby. But we didn't know what the character was at first. So I thought the character may be somebody who had a male persona as well, and maybe got out of, clothing and changed to something else. And indeed, in the backstory, you do see the male version. But that was more of a backstory. And as we wrote each episode, we realized that Liz was actually on a gender journey experience. She was discovering it at the same time we were discovering it, which was really cool. Because we didn't necessarily have a direction you were heading for. And the thing about TV that's really great is that you don't know where you're going in TV. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, sometimes you get like 2 episodes ahead to read, but in horror story, we never got that. Never. So you don't know where you're going, but then in life, you don't know where you're going. You don't know what your job's going to be in a year. You don't know, that a baby's not going to come along in 4 years. You have no idea where you're going to live in 10 years. You didn't know you were going to live here 10 years ago, possibly. So the TV characters that's their same journey. And so it was great to discover that same journey with her. And, Ryan was really great at giving me little nudges along the way to keep the character on track. And I liked how serious she was. I liked how deep she was. I liked how funny she was. I liked how sassy she was. And, I love that her dominant relationship was with Kathy Bates' character. That was where they came to. Didn't see that coming. I mean, really, I didn't see that coming at all. And again, that's the kind of beauty that happens in TV when things go along in a season, and those things arrive. I love that so much.
We have Terry.
So I was wondering if you would be willing to act out a couple lines from American Horror Story.
God, which lines?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let me think about it. See if I can think of anything. What? Scalding. But he did have some lines. He did have some lines. He got his tongue back at one point. I just can't remember what they were. So I'll listen to this up front. Actors forget their lines immediately. You think they're out of your head, because you got to put new lines in. That being said, I can't remember the exact line, but there was a great moment when Wes Bentley came covered in blood and naked. And I'm at the hotel, sitting in the front, reading my book with my cigarette. And he comes up, and he's like covered in blood, and he says something about his day, and I kind of go, well, how's that going for you? And it's just like, it's such a breakdown. How's the breakdown going for you? See, he knows my lines. But it was, I love moments like that are beautifully set up. I did have scenes that were cut, and I remember those scenes in which they were back in. There was a scene in Liz Got Cut, a scene where, remember when the serial killers all show up? The serial killer's dinner?
Yeah.
I had a scene where I'm fangirling over Richard, what's his name? Yes, Ramirez. I get the elevator, I kind of go, oh my God. I'm fangirling, and they cut it. They were like, you know what? This is California. This is a sensitive topic. Let's not fangirl over this guy. So they cut the scene. But I love that song. And I like Buy Your Own Damn Flower.
I think one of my favorite lines from that season is, there's no pity party in my ball.
Yes. Yes, that was in that moment. I love that. Now time for the weather. Tiffany?
Another question you noticed was coming. It's about Russell fucking Edgerton.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he first started the scene, he played it with a little bit of malice, a lot of delight. I was convinced you were 3,000 years old, but you still didn't leave lose your luster. Most would have been bored at that point. So that plus the, of course, the news scene.
Yeah.
How did you channel those? Were you given a lot of direction? Where'd you dig for that? Because every scene he was in was killer.
I mean, again, it was in the writing. We have really good writers, you know, in TV, and the writing was great in that. But also, I read the books. The books are fantastic, but Russell in the books was not enough. He was too mousy. I was like, no, he's not mousy. You know what I mean? So I did a lot of work on the backstory with Theo, who played Talbot. We used to walk together in Monument Canyon in LA and develop our backstory. And that kind of helped flesh us out. And my first got in, they were like, so here's some rules. Vampires don't smile. Vampires don't touch. And I was like, oh, fuck that. Come on. Because I didn't want to be limited by that stuff. And also I decided that as a 3,000-year-old vampire, he's channeling something else anyway. You know what I mean? This is a guy, you know, who is alive at the time of Abraham, for God's sake. You know what I mean? This is like really, really, really different ways of thinking and being. And so I just kind of let my imagination go wild with that. But then it was in the scenes as well. I mean, he had a lot of fun. One of my favorite lines ever was, it was in season 5, and Michael McMillian and I burst into a wedding. Stephen Moyer directed that episode. We were Mardi Gras, we all had beads on, we were all drunk on people's blood. We burst into a wedding, and I see you light up my life for this one woman. And at one point, she's being attacked by her mother's being attacked. And she goes on, Mommy, Mommy! And I go, oh, honey, you should worry about you. Before I killed her. I love that. Come on, I love that stuff. But it was in the writing. The writing was really, really, really delicious and really, really funny. And, you know, the big monologue for the newscaster scene, there was a guy named Alex Wu, who was a great writer. I think Alex wrote on Three Body Problem. I think that's his show. He's a great, great, great writer. And he wrote that monologue, and I had that monologue for about 2 weeks. And I memorized it really early on. I wanted to have it in my body. And again, great writing. It's just great writing.
Did you do that in one take?
No, I mean, yeah, we did it in a single take, but I probably did about 5 takes. But I mean, it took a long to reset it. There was blood everywhere. The poor newscaster guy had to get completely redressed. You know what I mean? I had to get cleaned up. I had blood everywhere. You know, so it took a lot. And the cameramen were all wearing plastic ponchos, and the cameras were all covered with plastic ponchos because really blood went everywhere. It was just like, wow, it's crazy. Your car accident victim is back, and she brought a lawyer this time, so. What could go wrong? I'm serving.
You're serving him up. You're very more. So you said a lot about how you'll play a lot of characters, and you're an amazing character actor. You're very funny, and you're very scared. You want to be, but you're always also very funny. Is there any character that you would not want to play? Like either because they're too boring, or
A hero. I never want to play a hero. They're super boring. Because they have nothing. There's no tension. They have nothing to pull against. That's why they always make heroes like, you know, having lost a daughter, or they're ex-alcoholics, or they have a secret flaw, because otherwise they're just too boring. They have a mission, but that's it. They don't have nothing is driving them internally besides their mission. So I find heroes super boring. I mean, look at something like Deadpool. I mean, the reason it's so delicious is because, you know, he's got all these quirks and everything, but if he was a straight up, I don't know, like good guy, it's just boring. It really is. I never want to play a hero. I mean, they're not going to cast me as one, so I'm safe. You know what I mean? I'm not going to play the romantic lead. I'm safe. But yeah, I dodged that bullet. Definitely.
because you are such a good character actor. So like, okay, what draws to the quirkiness so much, do you think?
I mean, that's how people are. Do you know what I mean? I meet people every day who I think I could not play that person on screen. Nobody would believe that person. Because people are full. They're full on. You know what I mean? They have interesting personalities, and they have interesting voices, and they have interesting walks.
and they dress interestingly, and you know, and so it's like when you put that stuff on screen, people kind of go, no, that's too much. No, she wouldn't have the braids. No, that's too much. It's too much. You know what I mean? And so, but real life is like delicious. And so part of what we do as actors is that we just like study and draw. You know, take it from real people. Yeah. If you ever play someone that has to wear a neck brace, you know, I got it. You gotta have to bling it out.
Hi.
Hi.
Trisha. I wanted to know, does your family watch what you watch? Do your children, your husband? Because I think of Victoria Price, and she said, growing up, she never wanted to watch any horror film with her father.
Yeah.
Because watching him get hurt or die.
He's my hero, by the way. Absolutely. Vincent Price is my absolute hero.
Your son was here, and Victoria was still
I've met her.
Yeah, she's still up in
Yeah.
And so I think about that. I think about Phil all the time saying, even though, you know, she works tirelessly now to keep him, you know, in her mind. But,
no, I mean, my extended family, I have 3 sisters and a brother, I have tons of cousins and uncles and aunts, and they're big fans, and they're great, and they watch things, it pops up. My husband watches most things. He's really honest with me and tells me what he thinks. So I went and saw Big Hero 6 with my son, which is an amazing movie, I love it so much. And then he went and watched The Pyramid next door. And then I came out and I was like, so? How was it? He was like, I said, come on. I said, but I'm okay. He goes, which isn't true, by the way. People love The Pyramid. I'm just going to say that. But, yeah, I mean, and my son watches TikTok, so, you know, and I don't do Fortnite videos, so if I play Fortnite in the YouTube videos, he's watching me. I don't, so he doesn't watch me. I mean, he knows who I am, and he's aware, and sometimes he plays it up for his friends, but mostly, you know. I'm not big in the 13-year-old world. You know, that's not my demo. Yeah. I mean, I hope he watches it as he gets older. I want him to watch it as he gets older. But so far he hasn't really. I don't think what does he watch? He watches everything. I don't know how and where and when, by the way.
You do.
Yeah.
And I read something when you were playing with Taylor, you had to stay in character, even when you weren't on screen. I mean, you cannot win.
No, I don't ever stay in character. I mean, that character is harder to shape. So that's what I mean by that. In that I was living by myself in LA, and my family was in, I think at that point, they were in France. So they were in New York at that point. And you're defined by people around you. They tell you who you are. And when those people aren't around you, and you're playing another character, it can get a little shaky. A little bit like, That's all I meant by that. My best friend was in LA, so I was hanging out with him a lot. He kept me on the straight and narrow, he kept me sane.
And Broadway, will you do it again?
I just did a show in New York. I did Sondheim's last musical called Here We Are. We did it at the Shed in Hudson Yards last fall. And I'm going to do it at the National Theatre in London in March. I'll be there for 4 months performing. Yeah.
Which do you enjoy more? Movie or
different? You know what I mean? They're different. It's all a different thing. They're all, I mean, they're great. They're great. Theater's hard. It's harder. It's 8 times a week. It's all enveloping. I mean, it wears you out, but it's super rewarding by the same token.
You get that audience
feedback. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody got time for 1 or 2 more? Looks like
there's one. And you all stayed. I only had 2 walkouts.
Well, and they weren't even late getting them.
I've memorized their faces. I know who they are.
Hi, yes, and Mama wasn't able to make it, but you're one of her favorite concert characters, and it's almost her birthday in a few days. I was wondering if you could say happy birthday to Cynthia.
Which characters are her favorite?
All of your
All of them.
You're one of her favorite actors.
Cynthia.
Look at that camera right there.
Where? This one? This one right there. That one. I'll do both. Cynthia. Cynthia. Happy birthday to you, everybody. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cynthia. Happy birthday to you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a
See,
question?
you can sing.
I can sing.
Yeah.
I get paid to sing.
Last one. Who's got it? Last one.
Last one from out there. Anybody?
Wait,
Oh, she's breaking her neck to get up to the stage again. I've been waiting to use that. Honestly.
The lawyer has called again.
I thought about it after she got up the second time, and I was holding on to it.
If you could have any last question, what would it be?
I have any last questions?
Yeah, like what question did you not get to answer tonight that you wish you were able to?
Gosh. Well, I mean, the elephant in the room is that I'm here because I'm working on a series in Albuquerque. I'm in a new series from Netflix. They've already announced it, so I can say it's called The Burrows.
Yeah.
And it's by the guys, it's by the producers, not the writers of Stranger Things. So the same guys producing it. And then our writers are different guys. Anyway, they're amazing. Will and Jeff. And we have an amazing cast. Alfred Molina, Gina Davis, Alfred Woodard, Clark Peters, Bill Pullman is doing a couple episodes, Ed Begley Jr. is doing a couple episodes. It's a great bunch of people. And yeah, we started shooting about a week and a half ago. I shoot on Monday. I have to memorize lines. I'm a little terrified about that. Awesome. Oh my God, yeah.
Read on the flight.
Yeah, no, it's here. It's right here. It's in Albuquerque. Yeah, it's not very far from here. Yeah. I would say come over, but they didn't shoot you to try to get in the gate. So it's Netflix. Do it.
There you go.
Yeah. The former musician did that. I just like to.
What?
I just like to point out the former touring musician just did that. All right, one last question for you. We noticed you're already listed for the cast of American Horror Story come out in 2025. And look at these people. Can you give us any scoop as to what this season's going to be about? Because I'll be honest, Ryan Murphy's teasers that he puts out every year give me a fucking headache, all right?
Here's the thing. I don't know because he doesn't know. No, I do know they contact us when they contact us. I probably not doing that because I'm working until June. But you know, sometimes we get called like a week before. Sometimes we get called 6 months before. Sometimes they work with us. But I have no idea. And I swear to you, they probably don't know. I'm honest about that. Put the poker read on there.
He looked away, but I'm going to take his word for it. Ladies and gentlemen of Albuquerque and Morgue Krypt, guys, give it up for Mr. Denis O'Hare.
Glass.